Hello and welcome to the third video of this four-part educational video series on stroke education. Today, we're going to discuss the benefits of stretching and exercising and walk through a home exercise program for your upper body. This HEP or home exercise program was designed to provide the stroke community with exercises that they could do that would assist them during recovery by facilitating increased range of motion in preparation for engaging in functional tasks. Stretching and exercising are two things most people need to do more of in their day-to-day lives, as it helps keep our bodies and minds in top shape. However, these activities become increasingly more difficult after a stroke. Motor limitations such as muscle weakness, contractures, spasticity, joint laxity, decreased motor control, and sensory loss all impact how individuals are able to participate in activities such as stretching. There are many benefits to stretching, and research has shown that exercising routinely during recovery has a positive impact on quality of life outcomes. There are 5 types of exercises that directly correlate to increased health and well-being in clients with stroke. Aerobic exercises such as running, biking, and playing sports has shown to improve cardiovascular fitness, cognition, speed, endurance, balance, and mobility, while strength-related exercises help clients regain functionality by building muscle strength. Stretching and working on flexibility can not only relieve muscle spasticity and prevent contractures, it also improves motor function by increasing joint range of motion. The last one is neuromuscular exercises, which promote improved participation in ADLs or activities of daily living through coordination and balance activities. We are now going to get into the home exercise program, starting with the shoulder. This exercise is to help increase shoulder flexion and extension. You first want to start out in a seated position, preferably in a chair with a back for stability. You may also lie down to make the stretch easier. Interlock your hands together and slowly raise your arms up, keeping your elbows as straight as possible. Keep raising your arms up until you start to feel a stretch under your arms, then hold the stretch for 10 to 15 seconds. It is recommended to do 3 sets of 15 twice a day. This is the video demonstration for the shoulder flexion stretch. You first want to start out in a seated position, preferably with a chair that has a back for stability. You may also do the stretch lying down, but just make sure to give yourself enough space. To start out the stretch, you want to interlock your fingers and place them in your lap, straightening your elbows as much as you can. When you're ready, start to bring your arms up towards the ceiling until you feel a stretch. Once you feel a stretch, hold it for 10 to 15 seconds, then slowly bring your arms back down to neutral. It is recommended to do these twice a day, 3 sets of 15. Shoulder abduction and adduction allow us to bring our arms away from the center of body. For this exercise, you first want to start out in a seated position. Cradle your affected arm into your unaffected arm and slowly rock them side to side. Be sure to only move your arms and not your torso, as many people when performing the stretch tend to turn their bodies while swaying. Hold the stretch for 10 to 15 seconds and do 3 sets of 15 twice a day. For shoulder abduction and adduction, you're first going to want to start out in a seated position. Next, take your affected arm and cradle it in your unaffected arm. When you're ready, start to sway your arms back and forth. Hopefully you should start to feel a stretch on the back side of your arm. Once you start to feel a stretch, hold that stretch for 10 to 15 seconds, then come back to resting. It's recommended to do these twice a day, 3 sets of 15. Continuing with the shoulder stretches, this stretch helps promote increased external and internal rotation. We use external and internal rotation when engaging in activities such as self-care tasks and dressing. Starting in a seated position with your elbows bent at 90 degrees, grasp your affected hand or wrist with your unaffected hand. While keeping your elbow bent at 90 degrees, slowly push your arm from side to side and hold the stretch for 10 to 15 seconds. Do 3 sets of 15 twice a day. For shoulder external and internal rotation stretching, you're going to want to start out in a seated position. Start by taking your unaffected arm and grasping the wrist of your affected arm, keeping your elbows at 90 and as close to your body as possible. Then you're going to want to bring your arm closer to your body and pushing it away from your body. This is kind of like a swinging door motion. You want to do this until you start to feel a stretch and hold the stretch for 10 to 15 seconds. It's recommended to do these twice a day, 3 sets of 15. We're now going to move into stretches for the elbow, which is responsible for flexion and extension. In the same seated position from the last stretches, interlock your hands together and place them in your lap. Moving only your elbow, slowly bring your arms up towards your chest and back down to your lap. Hold the stretch for 10 to 15 seconds and do 3 sets of 15 twice a day. For flexion and extension of the elbow, you want to start out in a seated position with your hands interlocked and your elbows as straight as you can get them. Then, when you're ready, start to bring your hands close to your chest, only bending your elbow. Hold this stretch for 15 seconds, then slowly bring your arms back into an extension and hold that for 15 seconds. Do these twice a day, 3 sets of 15. The forearm is responsible for the rotation of the radius around the ulna. This motion is known as supination and pronation. For this stretch, you're going to want to find a flat surface or something that you can use to support your arms. Start out by interlocking your hands. Then, with your unaffected side, rotate to your affected side until your palm is face up. Then repeat on the other side. Hold the stretch for 10 to 15 seconds and do 3 sets of 15 twice a day. For forearm supination and pronation stretching, you want to start out with a flat surface to give your arms a little bit more support. You want to start by interlocking your fingers and keeping your thumbs face up. When you begin, you want to start by rotating your wrist left to right. Once you feel a stretch, hold that stretch for 10 to 15 seconds, then move to the other side. This is recommended to do twice a day, 3 sets of 15. Moving on to the wrist, stretching the wrist can be challenging, especially if you have increased spasticity. The wrist is responsible for flexion and extension, which is your ability to bend your wrist back and forth, and ulnar and radial deviation, which moves your wrist right to left, and is usually a very subtle motion. For the first stretch, interlock your hand with your elbows supported on a flat surface. Move your hand towards and away from you as if you were casting a fishing rod. After this stretch, in the same position, move your hands left to right, bending your wrist. Hold each stretch for 10 to 15 seconds and do 3 sets of 15 twice a day. Like it was stated before, the wrist has 4 different motions that can be worked on and stretched: ulnar and radial deviation and flexion and extension. Ulnar and radial deviation is responsible for left to right motions, whereas flexion and extension is responsible for bending the wrist. For ulnar and radial deviation, you want to start out with your elbows on a flat surface and your hands up, thumbs facing towards you. Then when you're ready, start to move your wrists away from you and towards you. Once you feel a stretch, hold for 10 to 15 seconds, then move to the next direction. For flexion and extension, you're going to do the same thing by interlocking your fingers, but instead of moving away and towards your body, you're going to move from left to right. Once you feel a stretch, you're going to hold this stretch for 10 to 15 seconds, then move to the other side. Do these twice a day, 3 sets of 15. Shoulder shrugs and shoulder squeezes are a good way to promote shoulder mobility and muscle activation. These can be performed while seated or standing in front of a mirror, although it's not necessary to complete this exercise. Simply lift your shoulders up towards your ear, then slowly bring them back down. You can also make circular motions or squeeze your shoulder blades and bring them forward to make a rounded back. This will help strengthen your rhomboid muscles in your upper back. Do 3 sets of 15 twice a day. When completing shoulder shrugs, you can either do this in a seated position or standing in front of a mirror that allows you to see your entire upper body. Start by simply raising your shoulders up towards your ears and holding it for 10 to 15 seconds, then bringing your shoulders slowly back down. You can also do shoulder motions such as circular motions or bringing your shoulders back and squeezing your shoulder blades and then bringing them forward. All of these motions promote shoulder mobility and strengthening and are recommended to do twice a day, 3 sets of 15. Weight-bearing exercises can be used as a preparatory exercise if you have increased spasticity. There are a few different ways you can complete weight-bearing exercises. The first is to start by placing your arms on a counter or table with your elbows bent at 90 degrees. Then simply shift your weight so that you're resting on your arms. You can also do this with your elbows straight and the palms of your hands flat on a counter or table. You may place continuous weight through your arms, or you can lightly sway side to side and back and forth. Another way to increase the difficulty of this activity is to place your arms on a wall either on your elbows or the palms of your hands. This not only will provide weight bearing, but also works on shoulder mobility and core strength. Do this exercise 2 times a day, weight bearing on extremities, for 5 to 10 minutes or as long as you can tolerate. We're going to be talking about weight bearing exercises that you can do at the counter or at a tabletop. To start out, you want to start with your elbows on a flat, hard surface. Then, when you're ready, you're going to lean forward, placing weight through your arms. If you want more dynamic weight bearing, you may sway side to side or back and forth. You can also complete this on flat palms with your elbows straight. Again, once you're ready, you're going to lean forward, placing weight through the palms of your hands. You can either do this swaying back and forth or side to side. These are recommended to do twice a day for 5 to 10 minutes each time. Towel exercises are used frequently as a therapeutic exercise in occupational therapy. For these exercises, place a towel on a table or flat surface in front of you with your affected hand on the towel, then place your unaffected hand directly on top of it. Apply enough pressure to keep your hands together, then use your hand to slide the towel away from you towards the middle of the table. As your hands move forward, your shoulders will also stretch forward. With the towel reducing friction, this allows you to stretch and strengthen your shoulder muscles. You can slide the towel back and forth to promote shoulder flexion and elbow extension, side to side, or in a circular motion. Do these 2 times a day, 3 sets of 15. For towel exercises, all you need is a small towel and a flat surface. You're going to start out by taking your affected side and placing it on the towel, then taking your unaffected side and placing your hand over top. Make sure to apply enough pressure so that your hand does not move while performing this exercise. Once you're ready, you're going to start by pushing the towel towards the middle of the table. This will promote shoulder flexion and elbow extension. Once you feel a good stretch, you're going to hold for 10 to 15 seconds, then bring your arms slowly back towards you. You can also do motions like side to side motions and circular motions. These are recommended to do twice a day, 3 sets of 15, holding each stretch for 10 to 15 seconds. Internal and external rotation exercises can be completed either seated or in a standing position close to a table or countertop. The first exercise is behind the neck pass. Start out with the object stacked in front of you, and with one hand, grasp the object and bring it behind your head. With the other hand, reach up and grasp the object, bringing it back towards the front. The second exercise is the behind the back pass. Similar to the previous exercise, except this time you'll pass the object behind your back. While passing the cup behind you, tilt your hips back. Then, when passing the object in front of you, bring your hips forward. It's recommended to do these twice a day, 15 times in each direction, 15 times counterclockwise and 15 times clockwise. There are various different exercises you can do that promote increased internal and external rotation. In this video, we're going to be talking about the behind the neck pass and the behind the back pass. You can either do this in a seated position or you can do it in a standing position like I will be demonstrating today. The only item that you need is a household object or something that's readily available to you. For me, I'm going to be demonstrating using this cup. For the behind the neck pass, you're going to take your object and place it around the back of your head and bring it towards the front. For the behind the back pass, this is similar, however it requires less shoulder flexion and can be simpler to perform. For this, you're going to take your cup and bring it towards the small of your back and around towards the front. It's recommended to do 15 counterclockwise and 15 clockwise, doing it twice a day. Before participating in fine motor activities, start by priming your body with stretching and weight bearing to ensure your body is prepped for participation in functional tasks. This will help you relax the spasticity in your arm and improve your range of motion. During fine motor tasks, it's important to remember to take breaks in between in order to stretch out your upper extremity, focusing on your wrist, hand, and fingers. Fine motor tasks can activate muscle tone in your arms, making tasks increasingly more difficult. However, stretching and weight bearing in between can help combat this. A few functional daily tasks to try at home include cleaning countertops, wiping surfaces, folding laundry, drying dishes, and practicing daily tasks using your affected arm, such as bathing, dressing, and self-care. A few fine motor activities that you can do at home are therapy ball exercises such as ball squeezes or grasp and release activities, therapy exercises which focus on grip strength, and coin and card flipping. I hope you found these exercises helpful, and as always, please feel free to leave any questions or comments down below. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.